Learning you or a loved one has a bleeding disorder can feel overwhelming. Living with a bleeding disorder can pose challenges. Whether you're an individual with a bleeding disorder or care for someone with one, you probably have a lot of questions about how a bleeding disorder might affect you and your loved one's life. Learn how several individuals and families have successfully met the challenges they faced learning about and living with a bleeding disorder.
So my name is Alexandra Johnson and I have von Willebrand's disease, type 1.
Hello, my name is Dwayne, and this is my son, Blake, and he has hemophilia factor 7 deficiency.
My name is Brent Movitz, and I have hemophilia A severe.
My name is Carlos Isaac Medrano Ceja. I'm 20 years old, and I have severe hemophilia A.
I'm Candy, and this is Casey, my husband, and we have 3 children. Caleb is our oldest. He has severe hemophilia A. He's just turned 14. And then Joshua's 12, no hemophilia. And then Sarah is 9. She's our baby, and she is a carrier.
I'm Jen Loving.
I'm Joe Loving.
And we have 3 kids, a 17-year-old daughter, an 11-year-old daughter, and a 3-year-old son with severe hemophilia A, factor VIII deficient.
My name is Josh Heeman. I have a 2-year-old daughter with type 3 von Willebrand's disease.
I think sometimes people assume when you have a family history that you've got it covered, because I remember my first NHF, they were like, oh, so this is like old information for you. And I was like, no, this is completely different, because this is my baby.
Ask lots of questions. There's no bad questions. We've been told that many times. I've asked our HTC nurses several times, all these questions, say, okay, sorry to keep bugging you, and they always say, no, it's great. Asking questions is going to be very helpful.
I just think just try to gather as much information as you can, use all the resources available. For one, it'll give you a peace of mind, and because being newly diagnosed and not knowing anything, it can be a very scary time. So, as I said, the more information and resources you have, the better you feel you can control the disease.
I kind of realized that because now I have hemophilia, or I was diagnosed with hemophilia, I realized that I had to be a little bit more careful about what I did and what I participated in.
Having grown up as a sibling of someone with a bleeding disorder, we've just always been very conscious of trying to make sure that they all feel special, because they are in their own unique ways, and so extra attention that Caleb might be getting because he's having a bleed or because he's having to get factor, and that attention, even if it's just taking the time to infuse him when he was little, making sure that it's all balanced, I guess, so that the other kids aren't feeling like, well, how come he's getting all the attention? And
our older daughter actually has a part. We all kind of have our role in there. Kinsey will sit on one of our laps, myself or my wife, and the other, then the other one of us will actually do the infusion. We get everything set up, and the 2 daughters, Kinsey and our other daughter, Jayla, will actually get some toys together to show Kinsey during the infusion to keep her occupied. And so our 4-year-old actually takes that pretty serious at this point, which is great. She's a very good helper, and she actually looks forward to the infusion days now.
He started preschool this year, and he goes 2 half days. And one of the first things right off the bat was we had said, we're very vocal to the school staff and saying this is his condition, and Cincinnati Children's has come down to explain what it is, so they realize that, oh, if he gets a paper cut, no, he's not going to bleed to death, but maybe he's going to bleed longer than another kid.
We have a welcome, or not a welcome letter, but kind of a detailed information, just gives kind of an overview of what, real broad, not anything too in depth where people are going to get confused, but just a kind of instructions and a little bit of information on her that we leave wherever she goes. Since we started doing that, we give a copy of our a consent form and a couple other things that our HTC recommended. We actually do that for both kids, just in case something were to happen.
But I think one of the most important things that I had to learn in my life was that you can't define yourself based on, you know, a genetic condition or anything like that. You define yourself based on who you are as a person. And so even though having a bleeding disorder does make me different, I mean, it doesn't make me who I am, definitely. I would say that if I met a younger person with a bleeding disorder who felt different, I would say that, yeah, you're different, you know? But your bleeding disorder doesn't make you any better than anyone else. It doesn't make you any worse than anyone else. It makes you different, but we're all different. Everybody brings changes and differences to the table, and your bleeding disorder is one of them, but I would encourage them strongly to find what it is about them aside from their bleeding disorder that makes them who they are as a person.
I'm not different from anyone else. I mean, we're all the same. You know, we all have the same abilities, disabilities than any other person can have. The only thing is I'm missing a protein, and that's the only thing that makes me different. It's nothing to be ashamed of, I mean, because we don't look different from anyone else. We don't walk different from anyone else. We don't speak different from anyone else. We're all the same.
I think the scary part of it is wondering if your friends are going to look at you like you're, you know, a different person after they find out about your bleeding disorder. And if they're, you know, it sounds cliche, but if they're worth it, they're not going to worry about it. They're not going to make you worry about it.
And so I always had that I'm normal, I'm not, I mean, when you're a teenager, you always feel different. I mean, people who don't have hemophilia have the same inner turmoil that people with hemophilia have of, I'm different, I'm not like everyone else, I have different thoughts than everyone else. But really, hemophilia is just, I mean, that's not the reason why you feel different. I mean, it's just one factor about you, but another person has the same turmoils and he doesn't have hemophilia.
Moving away was one of the best experiences of my life, especially moving hours away from my hometown. I think that's important for anybody. I actually moved closer to my hemophilia treatment center when I moved away. My HTC is located on the campus of Michigan State, and I moved to Michigan State to go to school. So that worked out really well for me. But I guess I don't know what it would be like to move, you know, far away. Like, it's going to be quite a transition when I do choose to really significantly move a great distance away from the HTC that I've gone to my entire life. You know, like, I've got my nurse and my social worker and my hematologist, and I've known them for years.
I'm going to Coastal Carolina University, and I'm going to be staying on campus. And it's also great that I found out that I have hemophilia before I graduated. So if I traveled to a different country because I want to do international business and something happened, then I would be a little bit more informed about, you know, my body and what I need to do. So if you know that you're more comfortable at home with your family, knowing that they know that you have hemophilia and they can all help you, then stay with your family. Or consider a college closer to home. Now, if you're independent and you know how to operate your factory and you know how to operate, you know, infusing yourself, then, you know, you can consider moving farther away. But it's just take all options in consideration, you know, and think long term, you know, what am I going to do if this happens, or what am I going to do if this happens? Do I have a backup plan?
As you grow up, I mean, you have to move away from home sometime. And, you know, I really wanted to study somewhere else, not just stay in the States all my life. So, I mean, I decided to go to Mexico. And one of the things that I really did was, I mean, talk to my hemophilia treatment center to see what kind of a plan I would have, you know, in case of an emergency, in case of anything that would happen with, like, my bleeding disorder. I mean, I could cope with it and, you know, work it out. My mom really misses me, my dad misses me, you know, but one thing that I thought was really great is self-infusing. Because, I mean, I learned how to self-infuse when I was like 7, and it's helped me a lot because, I mean, I could do it by myself whenever I want, whenever I need it, and I don't really have to depend on anyone else to help me with that.
One piece of advice that I would give about working is you should always bring your medicine with you, and just keep it in your desk, keep it in your cubicle, just have it someplace where if something happens, you can discreetly get it and go to it. And that way you're not maybe carrying it around all day. It's not a burden to deal with. It's just there when you need it. I think it's very important for someone to know wherever you are that you have a bleeding disorder. So whether that's at work, at school, to have a plan in place, someone to know what to do something if something happens.
If you have a chance to get involved with other chapters and meet up with other people that have dealt with the same issues, it's very helpful. We had one hospital visit that we had a couple things that weren't going very well. My wife was very scared. She called another lady in our chapter that has a child with hemophilia before any family member to talk through the issue. It meant a lot knowing other people and being able to kind of share the same concerns.
Well, the first piece of advice I would give is let your kid be a kid. If there is a bleed, if you notice that something's not right, if your kid's not acting right, don't be afraid to call and get help immediately. I think that would be the best advice.
I think going through the hemophilia.org website and going through the Steps for Living, it has a lot of questions. Participating in your local chapter, going to NHF meeting. I think the best networking, meeting people, and asking advice, just getting to see from another person's viewpoint. And to know that you're not alone, that there's other people with similar experiences and they can help you through, whatever you go through. Right.
I think it's very important for people with hemophilia. You can do whatever you want, but you need to consider that you have a bleeding disorder. You need to talk to your hemophilia treatment center. Make sure that it's an ongoing conversation where your needs are being met and your voice is being heard.
Well, Blake being a boy, and him being my son, you worry about your children anyway. And then when you find out that they have this disorder, I guess it makes you more clingy. But that can hurt and that can help also. It could hurt as far as, they won't become as independent as they should be, especially with him going off to college next year.
Well, my advice to teenagers or people who are starting a new phase in life, just take it day by day, take it slowly. So I think my big piece of advice is take it slowly, take it day by day, concentrate on one aspect or one characteristic in your life rather than everything at the same time, and that makes it a little bit more easier.
If I had one piece of advice to give to people my age, maybe in my situation, maybe not with bleeding disorders, it would definitely go back to what I said about not defining yourself based on your bleeding disorder. You are more than that. You have more to bring to the table. And I guess my piece of advice would be a request, and that's to go out and find other things that make you different, and to continually spend the rest of your life seeking out ways that you can see yourself as a different person from everyone around you, because it's only by being different that we can really ever make anything happen in the world.